Flock Nation, a bombshell just dropped about the negotiations with Ronnie Stanley. And what's happened behind the scenes could completely change the future of the Ravens' offensive line. The front office is racing against the clock, but time is ticking. And if nothing is resolved quickly, one of Lamar Jackson's protectors could soon be gone from Baltimore. The market is watching closely. Offers could come at any moment, and the Ravens must make a decision before it's too late. Stay with me until the end, because these new details might determine the team's fate for 2025. Go Raven, Flock Nation. Imagine a castle being protected by a huge iron gate. That gate is Ronnie Stanley for Lamar Jackson, a true shield against opposing defenders. But now, that gate might be about to open, leaving Lamar vulnerable, because there's still no deal in place between the Ravens and Stanley. Time is running out, and if nothing is settled soon, the team might lose one of their most important players. The front office has made it clear they want to keep Stanley, but so far, it's just been words. No contract signed. The big question is that the Ravens have until tomorrow to make a crucial decision. Use a franchise tag to keep Stanley for at least one more year, or take a risk and try to work out a longer deal. The tag would solve the issues short term, but it comes at a high cost on the salary cap, limiting other signing. A long-term deal could be a safer solution, but that depends on reaching a financial agreement that satisfies both sides. If nothing happens in time, Stanley will be free to talk to any team in the league and test his value on the open market. Speaking of the market, teams like the New England Patriots are already eyeing Stanley. With few quality left tackles available, any team in need of a top protector for their quarterback would be willing to pay big for him. This puts the Ravens in a delicate position. If they wait too long, they could lose Stanley to another team offering a more lucrative contract. After 9 years wearing purple and black, is it time to say goodbye? Or will the Ravens act before it's too late? What makes things even more complicated is a shrinking left tackle market, which only increases Stanley's value to other teams. If there's one thing that drives up a player's value, it's the lack of options in the market. And that's exactly what's happening with left tackle. In the past few days, 2 big names were taken off the board. The Chiefs used a franchise tag on Trey Smith, and the Rams extended Alaric Jackson. This means that teams desperate for an elite protector for their quarterbacks now have even fewer options. And who's still available? Ronnie Stanley. If the Ravens don't close a deal with him soon, the competition will do everything it can to bring him in. The interest in Stanley is no surprise. He had a solid season, playing all games and earning a Pro Bowl selection. And when we look at other left tackle contracts in the league, it's clear he could score a nice raise. Today, 9 players at that position are earning at least $20 million per year, and projections suggest Stanley could sign for between $21 and $23 million annually. That's a lot of money, but for teams in need of a reliable blindside protector, it's worth every penny. And there's more. The 2025 draft doesn't have any guaranteed prospects that could step in and start right away in the NFL. This makes experienced veterans like Stanley even more valuable. The Ravens know this, but are they willing to enter a bidding war to keep him? Or will they try to convince him to accept a more team-friendly deal? What's clear is that if he hits free agency, it won't take long for aggressive offers to come in. But even with Stanley's value on the rise, there's one concern that can make some teams hesitate before opening their wallet: his injury history. Ronnie Stanley has proven he's still a top-level left tackle, but we can't ignore the elephant in the room: his injury. Since 2020, he's missed several games due to physical issues, including a serious ankle injury that kept him out for almost 2 full seasons. Between 2020 and 2021, he played only 7 games. In the next 2 years, he missed 10 more. It wasn't until 2024 that he was able to play every game, showing he can still be dominant. But can he maintain that streak? This injury history is what makes the Ravens hesitate to offer a long-term, expensive contract. They need to be sure that Stanley will stay healthy and productive in the coming years. Some NFL teams might be willing to overlook the risk and offer a big deal anyway. But the Ravens know they've struggled before when investing heavily in players who couldn't stay on the field. They need a safe plan, perhaps a deal with performance-based incentives for games played and performance. For Stanley, this is also a crucial issue. He knows this could be the last big contract of his career. At almost 31, he doesn't have many chances left to secure a high salary. He has to decide between chasing the biggest offer possible or taking a deal that gives him more long-term stability. If he chooses to test the market, he might receive bigger offers, but perhaps without as many guarantees. If he stays in Baltimore, he might get a more structured deal that mitigates risk. In the end, it all comes down to Stanley's role in the Ravens' plan, and the decision the franchise makes could affect the entire strategy for the offseason. Well, we passed the halfway point of our video. But before I go on, I notice you haven't left your like yet. It's really important for YouTube to keep recommending my content to you. So go ahead and hit that like button. It's free and helps a lot. Thanks. Now let's continue. If Ronnie Stanley leaves, the Ravens won't just lose a player. They'll lose an essential pillar of their offensive line. He's the one who protects Lamar Jackson's blind side, and any replacement would bring risks to the offense. With a mobile QB like Lamar, having a solid offensive line is crucial to keep the scheme running smoothly. If Stanley goes, the Ravens will need to find a quick solution, whether it's through free agency or the draft, and neither option will be as reliable as a player who already knows the system and has league experience. On the other hand, the Ravens also need to consider the budget. Keeping Stanley means committing a significant portion of the salary cap, which could limit other moves. The team needs to strengthen the defense, consider additions to the receiving core, and even improve the depth of the offensive line. If too much is spent on Stanley, other areas of the roster could be left weak. But if not enough is spent, they could lose a key player and create an even bigger problem. The issue isn't just whether Stanley should stay, but at what cost. The Ravens need to find a balance between keeping an essential player and ensuring the rest of the team remains competitive. They know that any mistake in this decision could directly impact Lamar Jackson's performance and the strength of the offense. After all, what's the point of having a talented quarterback if he doesn't have the time to throw the ball? And now, we've reached the decisive moment. The deadline for franchise tag is fast approaching, and the Ravens need to decide what to do. The Ravens are at a crossroads with Ronnie Stanley. The franchise has until tomorrow to decide whether to tag him with the franchise tag or continue negotiating a long-term deal. If they go with the tag, it ensures Stanley stays for at least another year, but it weighs heavily on the salary cap and could compromise other important signings. A new contract, however, depends on an agreement between the two sides, and the longer it takes, the higher the risk that Stanley will test the market and receive aggressive offers from other teams. The big issue is that if Stanley becomes a free agent, teams like the Patriots could act fast. With few top-tier left tackles available and a draft class with no immediate guarantees, any team that needs to protect its quarterback will be willing to invest heavily. This could force the Ravens into a tough spot, either overpay to keep him or risk entering the season without a suitable replacement. Neither option is comfortable, and that's why the front office must act quickly. Additionally, this decision impacts the entire offseason plan. If Stanley leaves, the Ravens will need to find a solution in the market or the draft, and neither of those options provides the same security as a seasoned veteran like him. If he stays, the team will have to manage the salary cap to ensure other areas of the roster are also reinforced. Finding that balance will be key to keeping the team competitive and ensuring Lamar Jackson has the protection he needs to keep leading the offense. The outcome of this negotiation could define the future of the Ravens' offensive line. A wrong choice could leave Lamar exposed and jeopardize the team's performance next season. The big question now is, will the Ravens pay the price to keep Stanley, or will they risk starting 2025 without a clear plan for their offensive line? Now, with everything we discussed, it's clear Ronnie Stanley's situation is crucial for the Ravens' future. The team needs to act quickly to avoid losing one of their most important players, who was essential in protecting Lamar Jackson last season. The question now is, will the front office secure Stanley's future with a long-term contract, or will they risk losing a key pillar of their offensive line? If you also believe Stanley deserves to stay in Baltimore, share your thoughts in the comments. We can't let a wrong decision affect our QB's protection and the Ravens' future. Until next time, Ravens Nation.